Hey, what's going on everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. So it has been a crazy busy day and I was hoping to make a different video, but I actually don't have time. There's gonna be too much time involved in making the other video, so I'm gonna save that for another day. But today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Corvette and my expenses and exactly how costly is it just to own a Corvette. Now I've talked about it many times before. The Corvette itself cost me $25,000. Now that was a pretty good deal. I got it with 12,500 miles and it was a one owner and it is a 2007 Z51 3LT package Corvette. Now at the time that the original individual that I bought it from purchased the vehicle, it was probably about 60 grand. I don't have the original sticker, I wish I did, but it was a one owner and I bought it from him directly. And again, he only put about 12,500 miles. So I really feel like I got a great steal on it at 25 grand, and I do not have any payments. So I did pay it in cash. A lot of people like to go over what is their monthly cost. To give you an idea, if you were to do like a 48 month and you put, say, even just 5,000 down, you'd be looking at a $20,000 loan, and you might have roughly, $400 payments, give or take, depending on your interest rate, and if you went 48 months, 60 months, maybe 36 months. Anything over 60 months is going to be pretty tough on a used vehicle, especially the older you go. There are companies though that will loan you 72 months, but going out that far, especially on a used vehicle, something that doesn't have a warranty as well, you start getting a little bit questionable on whether that's a financially smart decision or not. But we're starting to go a little bit off topic. So I wanted to talk about some of the other costs that are associated with my C6 Corvette. And let's first start with insurance. Now my insurance is surprisingly cheap for the vehicle. It actually, I believe, is just a little bit more expensive than my everyday driver Acura TL. So I buy it in 6 months, though every month is about 50 bucks. So I have about $300 for every 6 months premium. So about $600 a year for insurance, which is not bad at all. But I was really surprised. I was expecting it to be more than that. It's fully comprehensive. It's not just liability only. And I have it through Geico. One thing that I know has helped is I don't have any claims in the last 5 years. I'm over 25 years old, but I think the no speeding tickets / no accidents has been a major factor in that pricing. But I was really shocked at how cheap it was to get the vehicle insured, and I love that aspect. Now, gas mileage. This is where it depends on how I drive it. I've taken it on a few small, short road trips, and it will average, I think, almost up close to 20 miles a gallon if I'm not pushing it too much. But then when I get around city, we're talking more like 10, 11 miles a gallon. I've even seen as low as 8 or 9 miles if I reset my MPG gauge just for a short run just to see what I'm averaging. So gas fill-ups can go pretty quick. There's actually surprisingly a pretty large, I think it's about a 15-gallon tank on the Corvette. So every time I go to fill up, it drinks a lot more gas than I expect. And compared to a everyday driver vehicle, it is shocking how quick you'll go through gas. Now, some of the other consumables, brakes and tires, that's where things can start adding up. Depending on how you drive and depending on what tires you go with, you're looking at a fairly high amount of cost in consumables. Nothing like a Ferrari or Lamborghini, but for my tires, if I want to go over, I was looking at the Michelin Super Sport Cups 2s, and they actually now make a newer, I believe it's like the AS3, or it's made by Michelin and it's their Super Sport line. But I believe I'm looking at about $1,300 to $1,400 installed for new tires, which is a lot more expensive than your average vehicle. I know my Acura, I got some nice tires for it for about 800 bucks. So I'm looking almost double the cost. And that's kind of expected though. There's a lot of additional rubber on, especially the back wheels and the staggering. I have 18s and 19s in the back. I might be able to go 19s and 20s, but I've heard you start running some rubbing issues, so I'm not really sure. I may just stick with the standard sizing on that. But at 1,400 bucks, that is fairly pricey, and I really want to upgrade the actual wheels, not just the tires, but the wheels and tires, and I'm definitely looking at over $2 grand for that, and that's going with a really basic, more lower priced wheel. You can spend $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 on just wheels, which is astronomical, and I will not personally be doing. But the people that can, that's great for you. Those are some beautiful wheels that all those different manufacturers make. But I won't be going that route. I'll find something more about $1,000 to $1,500 for the set. The next thing I wanted to talk about is my oil changes. Now, a lot of enthusiasts will change their own oil, and I probably could, but it's actually not that expensive. I take it to my local dealer, and I think my oil change is about 60 bucks. I know I can save some money if I do it myself, but at that point, it really is such a cheap cost that I'm willing to let them throw it up on the lift and get it done, and I don't have to mess with it. And for me, that's an easy cost to pay out to my local Chevy dealer. Now, brakes. I have not had to change my brakes, and I'm hoping I don't have to for a while, but I do know brakes can be pretty costly on the C6, especially if you just go up to your local dealer and swap them out for what is pretty much already on the vehicle. If you go aftermarket, I know you can find some cheaper, and obviously you can go much more expensive if you so choose. But I know brakes can get pretty pricey. I know probably, I believe for all four, you're looking at well over $1,000. But I don't know the exact pricing since I haven't had to run those costs. The very last thing I want to talk about isn't actually a cost you have to incur, but it is the modifications, which I believe really are somewhat essential. And those will be, upgrading your wheels if you already don't have some nice looking wheels. There's some nice chrome wheels that came on my Z51. However, I really think an upgraded wheel will accentuate the car that much more. Then I have carbon package that I've added to the spoiler, and I have a carbon package that I'm gonna make a video on and actually add to the side skirts. Those were about 350 to 400 bucks a piece, so that was added. I added up my cold air intake. That's only a couple $100, and I think it's a must, especially if you have the LS2. That box cold air intake, I don't think it will breathe as well as the engine should, and I do feel like it's a nice little upgrade. I don't know if you really feel it in that much more power, but I do feel like the car breathes better, and that may be more just subconsciously me thinking that. But it does also, you get a nice little sound out of it. I can hear that air whooshing into the engine over the old boxed air intake. And finally and I've already raved about this, is upgrading the exhaust, especially on the LS2 as well. The old mufflers just pretty much muffled all of the sound. They did a really good job, which is actually unfortunate because that V8 was just closed down. It had no growl or girth to it, and upgrading the exhaust was just a huge plus, and those can go anywhere from $1,000 all the way up. I know Akrapovich's, they have them for like $5 grand. And I know there's some people that with Corvettes that have gone that route, but I think what I got, $1,800, is a steal, and it does a great job for me. Adds a lot of voice to the vehicle. But those are a few of the costs that are associated with the C6 if it's something you guys are looking for, or if you were just curious on some of the costs that I incur while owning the vehicle. I love it. It's not that expensive of a vehicle to maintain and to own, and at 25 grand it's cheaper than a lot of vehicles people purchase every day right off a lot. So it comes with a lot of value, especially at the performance level. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I know this was a short video, but I got to get back. I got a few more things I need to get done with work. But you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.